Oh, Trove, the state of this game is not good. So today I'm going to be essentially just talking about the state of the game, probably rant a little bit about it for like 10 or 20 minutes or so, probably even 30 minutes, I don't know. Just going to let you all know that I'm going to be completely transparent, completely honest with you. I've lost hope for Trove due to the amount of players that left the game, the lack of communication with the developers, all of the problems that brought with all of the cheating and the updates being absolutely horrible. So this is going to be a long video, just me just talking about all of that. So let's not start skipping forward into this video, ruin my ad revenue. So put me in the second monitor, there's going to be a lot of yapping. Let's start talking about the state of Trove. Starting off with like the low player count. The amount of player is like really low. It's like less than half from last year. One of the main reasons is going to be the lack of communication between the developers and the players. The developers have not been like communicating enough. They just been like me for real. I just disappear for like a month and a half and then just upload a video like this one and just be like, hey, hello guys, it's been a little while. The developers are like that. They just literally just drop enough day and then disappear for like 3 months. And that's just one of the main reasons that has just been going on. I know some people are just going to use the excuse of like, oh, the amount of developers, like 2 or 3, is not an excuse for going dark for like 3 months. The lack of communication is very apparent. The other reason is going to be the duplication that ended up happening in all platforms, mainly the console platform, but also happened on PC. For those who don't know, already made a whole video about the duplication exploit. If you're not aware, back in like April to May, I'm not going to go ahead and just start talking about stuff that I do not know, but from what I've been told, it's just essentially one player that got banned for doing that type of exploit, which is understandable, and then got banned and then started publishing the exploit, and then other people started publishing, and then it just started spreading like wildfire, and PlayStation started exploiting, and then Xbox started exploiting, and then essentially the whole economy just got completely destroyed because of the duplication. Everyone was just duplicating plugs, patron passes, skeleton treasure boxes, like stuff that are necessary for every type of player out there, which ended up just being there for God knows like 2 months. It just essentially just started destroying the whole economy completely for all platforms. People were just going, it's not that big of a deal. You know, duplication is just the best thing that's ever happened to the game. Shut your stupid. People are going to get bored and people are going to start leaving. A lot of players just wanted to see the end game, and then they just saw the end game and saw that there was like nothing for them to do. Then they left. Enjoy your journey with this game. Don't try to rush your way into the end game. People didn't realize it and they just started ruining the whole marketplace and all of that. I'm not gonna go into a whole rant regarding the whole duplication exploit, but yeah, that's one of like the main reason why the player count just started dropping in, and also the reason why the updates have been like very slow this year, mainly because developers started just focusing on fixing all of the exploiting and all of the duping and started banning people, which essentially just started delays upon delays. You all remember like when Rising Tides was about to drop, it just kept getting delayed because they wanted to fix all of the duping exploit before the Rising Tides. And speaking of Rising Tides, which brings me to the next point of why the players have just been dropping in like crazy, is the updates. The updates have just been horrible ever since the Gear Up patch. The Gear Up patch was pretty good. Gear crafting profession, all of the gear crafting stuff is just really good for the game because it's essentially just made crystal gear much more attainable for all types of player and much easier to upgrade. The thing is that Rising Tide being the next update, they added a new gear which is just extremely grindy and really boring to play. Ever since June all the way to September, we only were just doing one particular dungeon that spawns in every single biome. That was the only dungeon that you were doing for months and months, which is not fun, it's not enjoyable, especially considering that you have the 1-star dungeon, the 3-star dungeon, the Geotop 5-star dungeon, but you completely ignore all of them and just focus on the 5-star, the universal 5-star dungeon that appears in every single biome. So you're just essentially just grinding the same way that you would grind Class Gem, because Class Gem, all you do is just grind the Colosseum, which is just one dungeon that takes you like a minute, and you get your Class Gem, which again, a lot of people don't do it because it's boring as hell. The 5-star dungeons in Long Shade is just essentially the Class Gem grind, because all you're doing is just completing an objective that takes more than a minute, and all you do at the end is just use a key to open a cache to get the reward that you want. And it just makes it like not fun to do because all you're doing is one thing. And then they also drop in a new Delve biome, which, by the way, people don't like the delves. I cannot stress this enough. People really don't like the delves, but they decided to drop the worst delve biome in the game. The underwater range enemy one-shotting 170 delve piece of that is the depth. It was the other thing that got added, and it is also as important. And the thing is that you need to do it to actually just get the resources that you do need in order to upgrade Mystic Gear. People don't want to do the worst delve in the game that is really high and essentially just the class gem key grinding just for Mystic Gear that is not even that great comparable to Crystal Level 5. That lasted for months, for June all the way to September. That's when we got the release, the Kraken update. People were just asking for the grinding to just be much better. And the thing is the only way that people were just obtaining the resources really quickly, which was the ore rune method, that essentially got patched, and they essentially didn't do any other ways to actually just make the grinding a little bit better or just as efficient as it was when the ore rune was there. So the ore rune discovery node method, I've already just made a whole video regarding all of that, but TLDR, if you equip the ore rune and you have a specific node active in the rune anvil, and you will get like roughly 800 to 1.5k encrusted runic trunks an hour, which you would use then to get yourself depth cores, also the depths, and all of the essence and all the stuff that you needed, not only to increase your rune crafting profession, but also to increase Mystic Gear. That only lasted for like a week before it got patched, but instead of actually just nerfing that and then buffing other resources or other ways, they just essentially just completely nerfed that to the ground and then just left everything the same way. Console players never actually got the ore rune, which ended up having to grind the game as quote-unquote intended. We move on to a couple of months later to the Release the Kraken update. Release the Kraken update was a complete show. It's not even funny because people were just waiting months for an update for them to drop another boss in the already delve that is the depth, and then drop more mastery items that cost the resource that people are asking to get a lot more, the depth core. It's one of those biggest slap in the face of an update. Oh, you don't like the new delve bio? Oh, you don't like grinding for depth core? It just made essentially everything worse, and they just essentially added a bunch of stuff that we didn't want on an update that no one asked for. So we're just here just now with more stuff to grind in the already pretty bad delve, and more depth cores to grind for the mastery items that no one cared for. So they essentially just drop in a bunch of useless items that no one is going to grind for except like psychopaths like myself. Which brings me to the next update, which is the last update of 2024. Did they just add in a bunch of fixes or what? No, they just drop in and they drop in a reward to the tutorial. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. Who in the asked for a revamped tutorial? I don't mind helping new players. I don't mind them dropping this type of things, but on a different time. A lot of players who are leaving, a lot of players that are complaining about the stuff that you keep adding. A lot of players that don't like the current grind, especially at the end game. Why the hell are you going to put a revamped tutorial right now? This is like farting in a public elevator. It is so unbelievably out of place, it's not even funny. I remember like seeing this when it popped out like on the tester. I was like, what? A revamped tutorial? What? I guess they just forgot to add it in and release the Kraken, so they just drop it in as extra. Since it's on October, maybe we're going to get the winter expansion. Nope, that is the last update of 2024. That is not good. For the whole 2024, we got the gear progression with Gear Up, then the whole duping exploit happened, then we got Rising Tide with Long Shade, the overly expensive Mystic Gear, the very bad depth bio, and then we got Release the Kraken, which is an expansion to already all of the problems that I just mentioned, to the tutorial revamp.
Are you serious, my brother?
Remember when they asked like the players, hey, give us some feedback on stuff that you want. Got it, got your information, got your feedback. Let me just drop in a new tutorial. It's just really bad just thinking about it. And I just essentially just lost hope ever since we didn't get anything for the winter expansion. Not even something on the test server or stuff that they're working on. They just essentially just left it as it is. Just do the event. Thumbs up. Woohoo, have fun with that one. Now, before anyone just goes in the comments and just type in something stupid of me just not knowing what the hell I'm even talking about. Like, I do not know anything that is just going on behind the scenes. This is something that I've just been seeing and I've been seeing other players say as well. Now, I'm going to be giving away some quick feedback on some stuff that could really be beneficial to the game despite not being big on paper. Where are the class rebalancing? Shadowy Spotlight was a very huge success, and the only thing that they did was just class rebalancing, one class reward. Speaking of class reward, where are the class reward? The last time that we got a class reward was the Gunslinger back in 2023. Rewards are just going to be a huge thing into the game. Plenty of characters that actually just saw a huge spike in playtime just because of the reward. Shadowhunter, Boomeranger are the main example. Class rewards are very good. What about a rebalancing to the hidden effects? Some hidden effects actually make or break certain characters. Speaking of classes, the only thing that people are asking is just more classes in general. I do feel classes is like one of the things that is going to take a little bit longer than usual than just tweaking out some numbers here and there, but classes are just going to be very important. Rebalancing on some of the crafting recipe. There are certain crafting recipes like I just mentioned multiple times. Depth cores are a thing that people require a whole lot for mystic gear. Why the hell are some of the mounts cost like 1,000 depth cores? It will take you many hours just to get 1,000 depth cores just for a mount, and there's plenty of old crafting recipe like the stuff on Monopolis, from Geode Cave, from even the Delves. Like all of those things are just old. Pretty much a lot of people have them, but newer players are not going to use them or do them because it's still going to be as grindy as it was once they got introduced. So why not tune it down so that newer players can actually have an easier time progress in a progression like Crystal level 5. I don't know why Crystal level 5 only draws a 45,000 power rank from the Gearcrafter's vault. It should be 40,000 power rank in my own personal opinion. The crafting recipe or the upgrade should be a lot less because it's no longer the highest gear in the game. You should encourage players to upgrade your Crystal level 5 instead of just making it very difficult and then all of a sudden they have to go, oh yes, I had to increase to Mystic gear. Another thing is going to be making a lot of the items more universal. You have no idea, like every single time that they drop in an event or an update, it feels like there's like half of the items go into your regular inventory. People don't have 150 inventory space in the regular inventory, and they are expensive as all hell. 500 credits for 5 spaces is not good. Why are dragons and dragon coins so unbelievably expensive that it makes absolutely no sense? That's the reason why people duplicate it. That's one of the main reasons. This is not like back in 2016, 17 or something like that when there was only like 30 or so dragons. There's more than 60 dragons in the game and all of them costing like insane amounts of dragon coin. People are not going to grind hourly just for 30 power rank and just some really bad stats. And those are some of the feedback coming from one player talking from the top of my head. Imagine if a lot of players just having like complete lists, just running it down. You can actually just see the amount of ideas and fixes that is going to be great for this game. I do feel quality of life is going to triumph over new stuff because quality of life is just going to be helpful for every single player no matter what type of content that you're doing. Like what happened with Rising Tides where they just added Uber 12, which is good for the end game, but no one else is just going to see any benefit from it. And heck, even the end game players are not even doing it because of the aforementioned insane crafting recipe. This is just essentially all of the stuff that I wanted to talk about Trove, but I just wanted to essentially just talk some of the future stuff that I wanted to add in on myself. But I am going to just start to stay away from Trove in general, just doing only Trove. I might do a live stream every now and then, just maybe just sit back and just talk to you guys for a little bit, but as it stands right now, I am not going to just force myself to just keep posting Trove content over and over and over again. Which brings me to other games. Hollow Cure, I've been trying to get that game to 100%, get all of the achievements in the game and all of the fan letters, which is taking me well over 250 hours of grinding. And yeah, it's a video that I really wanted to talk about my experience, similar to what I did on Artale, where I did talk about my experience on Artale. I want to do my experience on Hollow Cure. The art video is going to be probably after the Hollow Cure video because I really wanted to talk about like my journey with digital art in general, how much I've learned and all of those good stuff. And Monster Hunter Wilds is like very close. It's like next month. I want to play Monster Hunter Wilds. I might just do live stream, maybe my experience with Monster Hunter Wilds when I do eventually just play it. I was going to do X-Defiant, but we all know what happened to X-Defiant. I've recently started playing Pal World and many other things that I would love to play. And last thing is going to be second channel. For those who don't know, I do have a second channel that is barely dedicated to me in general. Like I take care of everything, but I am not the star, let's just say, of the channel. Just go over there if you want. But one thing that I will say, and this is very important, please don't be like this asshole and telling me to stop doing this stuff on the second channel. I will not tolerate that, and if I see any type of those comments, I'm just going to ban you from the channel. I'm not going to stop doing stuff that I just enjoy. But yeah, that's essentially going to be everything that I wanted to talk about in today's video, letting you guys know what's been happening, what's going on. But yeah, thank you everyone for dropping by. Thank you for listening in to me. I don't think anyone's just going to listen all the way to this point, But if you have, thank you for listening. Most people are just going to end up watching like the first 3 minutes and just probably just point out something that I mentioned later down in the video. I wouldn't be surprised if something like this happened. Anyways, that's going to be everything for me. Thank you everyone for dropping by as always. Thank you for sticking around. Take care as always and keep on hunting.